So now we're at Thursday, August 31st, 2023. As always, I recommend listening to this video at 2 times speed. So I did say to myself, now that I had gone out of my way to set up an official contact with the Charlotte FBI Field Office Human Trafficking Contact, Desiree, I said to myself, okay, now it's time for me, because so much of this has been stuff I figure out way after the fact, and because that makes an investigation more difficult, well, supposedly, I said to myself, okay, now I've set up the contact, I need to go tell her what I already sussed about this Italian man, because it's happening in real time. Like, if we check his phone records, if we follow him, we will find that he's connected to organized crime and a sex trafficking ring, right? And to be clear, part of the reason I showed up that second day on Wednesday was because I said to myself, okay, I already know the Italian man's in on it. What if there's no record of me even coming to report this? It ended up that was not true. Chase did make a record. I wasn't even in the building. Things like this where, how do I know it wasn't all just chucked out and thrown away? I didn't have a guarantee of that, so I was going to make sure to do everything I could, not only to get through the organized criminals, but to get through the Italian man, to the authority I was trying to get to, the legitimate authority who could do something about this. And so not only that, but I was going to make sure that there was a record of everything. Chase did make a record. There was a record at the FBI office, so it is official. But that was another thing that I was concerned about, because I wasn't even allowed into the building. So, me going and seeing Desiree solidified some type of contact. And again, I'm painting a picture of just how much of an uphill battle it is for an organized trafficking victim, rape trafficking victim, because of how organized it is. And yeah, I will say, I showed up at the FBI office multiple times, and that's not really even a part of a lot of victim stories. I can't speak for every victim, obviously, but I have spoken to other victims who called and never got a call back. I went out of my way to show up multiple days in a row, and this still has kept happening to me. It doesn't matter what the rape trafficking victim does. Even when you do exactly what you're supposed to do and you go out of your way to do it right. Anyways, I'm sorry. My feelings are involved in this at this point, so please forgive me. So I showed up that Thursday, the 10th. I said, okay, now I've finally made contact with her, because I knew if I said that immediately, like someone who works in the same place that she works, and I'm just like, this man is in on it, and she hasn't even ever been introduced to me. I knew how unbelievable that would probably seem. So I'm like, okay, at least now I've made contact with her. I've gotten this solidified. So let me go and tell her what I know now about this Italian man, because it's fresh enough, it's recent enough. We can tie him back to this. We can see who he's connected to, which will tell us more about this sex trafficking ring. I want to bring these people down, because it's not just me, it's a bunch of other victims. Clearly, this is clearly a nationally organized rape trafficking ring with highly sophisticated techniques. So I showed up again, took my mom's car again, which just means me kind of disappearing, and showed up again, and I went in, and I said, so we were in the foyer again, me and Desiree. Now, unfortunately, by this time, they had gotten to even Desiree to not let me in the building, which I knew was based on the trafficker. The trafficker is using my protest history to try to turn the FBI against me. So the trafficker is using the contacts that they had. And so I got there, and we were in the foyer, and I said, hey, Desiree, really quick, mainly because so much of this has been stuff I figure out after the fact. I want to say something to you right now. We went into the foyer and I said, yeah, do you think anyone, like, I said to Desiree in front of the Italian man, oh, another important part of this, on this day, on Thursday the 10th, I get there, the Italian man is there again, so I guess he was off the one day. And I get there and I give my ID, I say, oh, you know, I'm here to give a report. And he says, to who? I looked him in the eye, I said, my contact. And then he goes, now remember, at this point I've already sussed him, so I already know what's going on. Now what he's about to say just confirms what I had already figured out even more. He goes, you were here yesterday? He had some kind of accent. He was like, you were here yesterday? Like, he was mad. Yeah, he was mad because his job was to contain me and he failed. So, you know, he was supposed to, I think he was probably confident that whatever he said to Chase to discredit me was effective, in combination with whatever, you know, the fact that I'm fighting an uphill battle here anyway. And it failed. It failed because I showed up the next day, you know, that Wednesday. Now, would I have shown up that Wednesday if I had not sussed the Italian man? I don't know. Probably not. I wouldn't have had the same sense of urgency. He was like, you were here yesterday? So I was like, yep. So I already knew he was guilty. Well, I'm like, I'm going to go smoke my black and mild. You know, stand out in front of the building. I can't stand like right next to the foyer and smoke my black and mild, but I can go to like the street and smoke it there. And I was like, I'm going to do that. Can I do that? He was like, yeah. And then, so I did that, and I think, and he was staring at me during that time, and I think he was seeing that I was making a statement by standing out in front of the FBI building like this. And then he's like, I came back, he's like, yeah, you might want to, we don't want people thinking there's suspicious activity going on here. You might not want to smoke your black and mild. He said something like that. You know, these pimp organization members or what have you, they always want to make the person that they're targeting feel less than, or say anything they can to control them, say anything they can to turn it around on them. So, and then part of the time I was like, yeah, I'll just wait to be called. He's like, yeah, come check in. And I think at that time he was thinking, okay, well, if she's going to be here, at least I can keep eyes on her. But he didn't realize yet that I had already sussed him out. Well, he said to me, are you not doing okay today? That's another thing a lot of them say to me. The pimp organization members, the gang stalkers, you know, it's kind of like it's like a soft psychiatric kind of threat for them. You know, trying to make me look crazy, what have you. And I looked him back in the eye and I said, I'm doing amazing. How are you? And he had a little flash of, oh shit. Well, so then Desiree comes down and I'm like, hey Desiree, you know, I'm not going to take up a lot of your time today. She said, our car is still following you around your neighborhood. I said, yeah, cars without license plates. Other important stuff about my contact with her is she said to me stuff like, you know, I can't guarantee your safety. You're going to have to call the local PD for that. I can't guarantee your immediate safety and stuff. I was like, yeah, totally. So that ended up happening later that day, more into that soon. But I said, we were in the foyer with the Italian man there, and I said, Desiree, don't you think when people say stuff to you like, oh, you shouldn't have been taking a shower at someone's house you don't know, don't you think that's victim blaming? And she said, yes. And I pointed to him. He was standing right there. He could hear everything we were saying. I pointed to him and I said, that man said that to me the other day. And she said, Landon, I'll mark that as a violation. And you could tell she was like embarrassed that he had said something like that. When I pointed at him and said that, he had the scaredest, guiltiest look on his face. It was not a look of, oh shit, why is she saying this? You know, people do have there's a legitimate bewilderment look, or what's going on here look. That's a thing, right? This look was not that. It was absolute guilt. It was absolute fear, because I just sussed him at his job, at his, government job, his real job, sussed him as some type of syndicate member. So she said she'll mark that as a violation. The next day, Friday, I showed up a fourth time. Yes, I did, because this is an urgent situation. Every time I've talked to Desiree so far, it's only been a couple of minutes at a time, and my life is still urgently at risk. I want to develop a relationship with her. Unfortunately, I know that the cards are stacked against me, and it's going to be a hugely uphill battle for me to get anything done based on this, so I'm going to have to give it my all. Yes, I did show up a fourth time because, and I said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, on that Thursday I had said, while we were still in front of him after I pointed my finger at him, I had said, because of the sensitive nature of what I've been victim to, I don't want to give my testimony in front of anyone who's not a federal agent. And she agreed. I said, at that point I already knew they weren't letting me in the building, and I knew why. They thought I didn't know. They thought I didn't know the big secret that they're not letting me in the building because I used to be a protester. But anyways, I was like, if not in the building, let's go out front. Out front on the other side near the parking lot. And so as I walked out and I shot him the most dead look, and he was scared. The next day I showed up, I knew the deal wasn't totally closed yet because, I gave her the diet version, which is he's a victim blamer, and no one in a position of authority should be a victim blamer or discourage, say something that objectively discourages someone from testifying or witnessing. Okay, well, because remember, at this time, I'm legitimately thinking, I'm aware that there's dirty police involved at this time. Of course, I've been aware of that the whole time, and I predicted that there are probably going to be dirty police involved at higher levels as well, but at this time, I'm thinking, I'm going to give it everything I've got to use the good cops within, the cops that actually want to take down rapists and fucking traffickers. I'm going to do everything I can to, make use of the already existing factions to build a case. You have to. There's no other way. To take something down like this that involves corruption at every level, there's no other way but to factionalize and try to turn the people who became cops for good reasons, with good intentions or whatever, do whatever we can to try to turn them against the corruption. The corruption is, unfortunately, I now believe the corruption is in the vast majority, but I digress on that point. But yeah, at this time, that is what I was trying to do. And, I think if you're in my position, you'd probably try to do something similar, realizing they're going to rape you and rape your mom whenever they can. Sorry to be so direct. I'm not trying to be confrontational, but anyways, that was my plan at the time, was to try to uncover this ring, whoever was involved. So this is my full-time job now, because they're not going to stop. Not only with me, but if they're running a highly illegal operation, they're clearly getting away with it. So I came back that Friday and I was like, hey Des, can we talk out front? I could tell that by that time, probably someone was already getting to her a little bit to turn her against me. She was not turned against me, but I could tell based on a couple different things that someone probably above her was getting to her. Not to mention the fact they weren't letting me in the building. Okay, so I was like, hey Des, look, I know we haven't had a lot of time to talk and I want to answer all your questions, but right now it's urgent for me to tell you that I've already sussed this guy out. It's not just based on the victim blaming, but he also made that, I explained about the comment he made about my sister, as a subtle threat, and then I explained to her, you know, yesterday when I showed up, he was like, oh, you were here yesterday? You know, so I was explaining to her how I can, you know, use my investigative skills to figure things out based on very little information. And, sorry, I'm blanking. I was like, you know, we need to, right now time is of the essence because so much of this has been, I figured out later, but right now this guy is directly involved in this right now. I guarantee you, if we watch his phone, if we follow him, we will find evidence that he's reporting back to someone about me in particular. Yeah, I did do that because if I don't do that, then it gives him the chance to outpace me, which he had already taken measures to do. And I also pointed to the fact that he had that guilty look on his face, and that I absolutely know the difference between guilt and bewilderment, and that it was absolutely guilt. And she's like, I won't be here on Monday. So that was Friday of that week. I'm gonna stop here.